Many bureaucracies, superintendents and assistants and deputies to everybody, sometimes serving 800, 600, 500 kids. We've got grade schools bigger than that. You don't need an administration for that, and it's penalizing children. You know, once again, the principal goal of people who support reform here is not dollar savings, although that'll happen. It's the better use of dollars is the first goal, and more accountable and open government. And there's a very close correspondence between the smallest school districts and the inability to provide advanced placement courses and the kind of math and advanced science courses that today's kids need. And a choice of foreign languages and modern science labs and the like, because too much is being consumed at the central office. For my money, I would like to see the consolidation of administration with the money put back into the classroom, making classrooms smaller, protecting our small schools. If you want small schools, we better quit spending so much on the administration of schools. It's the biggest threat I can see to preserving the smaller schools, which I happen to prefer, by the way. One last thing. We mentioned a couple of examples from this area that point out the need for reform. Here's a positive example that I think I've noticed at least. Your library system in Allen County is a model. You have one. It's a big county. We've got counties a fraction Allen size that have 4 or 5 library systems. You have one. You have 0 citizens not served. We have small counties with lots of library systems, and then there are many people who don't have easy access to the library. It's very paradoxical. The cost of renting a book here is well under the state average, once again, because the back office isn't chewing up all the money. So, congratulations to whoever back there in the course of time got that organized. It's a very good, positive model of what Governor Kernan and his commission were suggesting in a variety of services.
Governor, these were my questions. And the follow-up was, what's going to happen with the 200,000, of which about 700,000 of that is in my township?
200 million in the cash reserves.
The 200 million cash reserves?
Right.
Well, eventually I suppose it'll get spent on the intended purposes. You know, how unfortunate that at a time of hardship, townships are stacking up money, sometimes a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years worth, and taxing people without end. You know, we've got to pass the bill in the state Senate. I don't want to change substance here, but I hope the House will also pass to establish at the state level that the state can't do that. That when we have a balanced budget and no debt and reserves at some level of prudence, and we ought to, you know, debate what that is. Is it 10%? Is it 12%? Is it 15% of the year? But at some point, the government ought to quit taking money out of people's pockets and leave it there so they can spend it on something they choose. But that hasn't been happening in townships. And we've got hundreds of millions, which, once again, because it's at a level that's hard for people or the press to go around and watch all the time, nobody much noticed this till some enterprising journalists did the study. And so that'd be my answer to that question.
And my follow-up to that she mentioned was, do you have any intentions of talking to the township trustees?
Well, I'll give the mic back to Joe. But I mean, they had a year process in which we went all over the state, much of it at their own expense, and talked to people of all kinds. We haven't had one of these meetings without many trustees. But in the formulation of their proposals, I don't think you suffered from a shortage of trustee input, did you?
As a part of the process that we went through in putting together the recommendations, we had a website that invited comments. We had over 1,500 people that submitted information. Some of it, much of it, very worthwhile. We had a half a dozen public meetings around the state where we invited people. A lot of trustees participated in those meetings. We met with, staff met with the organization that represents the state trustee organization, the state trustee assessors as a part of that process. We tried to be as inclusive as possible in putting together the recommendations. And again, we understand that this is going to be a hardship on some people that work in local government, because it calls for the elimination of those responsibilities. But what kind of a responsibility the taxpayers have to support a system that we believe can be run much more efficiently. And so that is, at the end of the day, why we made the recommendations that we did, was that it's not an indictment. It's not a criticism of the people that are involved in township government or any of the other local governments across the state. We've got good people that are out there and working hard. It's an indictment of the structure within which they work. And we believe that it's one that leads to inefficiency, it leads to it stifles creativity, and does not serve the citizens of Indiana as well as it should.
I just quickly talk about the bill that passed. The implementation process for dealing with poor relief would establish in every county a county-wide or a county study planning committee that would be comprised by legislation of at least one urban township trustee as well as a township trustee from a rural area. It would also require that there would be 3 human services providers as a part of that, because one of the goals is to create an emergency poor relief system that serves not only serves people in their emergency situation, but connects them to other services that will help pull them out, to provide, to connect them with all of the other services within the community. And I know many townships do that now. But this would create a countywide system, and there would be participation by those who have been involved, as well as elected officials and ordinary citizens like the rest of us.
We will continue with questions through and until 1:15, but I want to pause for a moment to reference the materials that are on your chairs. We know that lawmakers respond to constituents who contact them. So you should have 2 things on your chair. One is a sample phone message that you can use with your conversations with your legislators. You can call and leave messages at the State House and or call the legislators that you know directly. You also have a letter. We ask that if you are inclined to please sign it, fill in the name of your state representative if you know who that person is. If you don't, we'll help you out with that, and turn it in as you leave. But we know that it is crucial that we are in contact with our legislators because they respond to constituents who contact them.